She showed up, covered in mud. But what the CEO did next changed everything. The glass doors of Architect's headquarters slid open with a whisper, and a stunned silence rippled through the lobby like a dropped pin on marble. Dozens of sleekly dressed employees turned to stare at the figure who had just stepped out of the elevator. Her appearance was nothing short of shocking. Mud streaked her arms, splattered across a once cream blazer that now resembled battlefield camouflage. Her black slacks clung to her legs, torn at the knees. One heel had snapped off entirely, leaving her to limp unevenly across the pristine floor. Her hair, usually tight in a bun, was wind-blown and wet, and yet her eyes held fire. Security moved toward her. A receptionist gaped. One junior associate muttered, "She's gonna get thrown out." But the woman lifted her chin, wiped a smear of grime from her jawline, and said loud enough for everyone to hear, "I have an interview with Mr. Dominic Kessler. 10 a.m. sharp." "Ma'am, you can't be serious," the receptionist stammered. I'm exactly on time. You can let him know I'm here, or I will." Gasps. A few phones rose to record, but she didn't care. This wasn't about dignity. Not anymore. Her name was Jasmine Cole, and 48 hours ago, she was just another out-of-work innovation consultant trying to restart her life after her father's death. And a blown whistle on a corrupt former employer. Architect was supposed to be a clean start. The company was known for sustainability, tech robotics, and a meteoric rise under the command of its founder, Dominic Kessler, a man notoriously difficult to impress, but widely respected for spotting talent in unlikely places. Jasmine had spent weeks preparing for the interview. This was her shot at redemption. But fate wasn't having it. That morning, her train stalled due to a landslide upstate. With no taxis and barely any cell signal, she jogged 5 miles down a wooded back road, trying to hitch a ride. A sudden storm turned the road into sludge. Her tote, with backup clothes, lost in the ditch. Any rational person would have turned around. Jasmine didn't not, because she was reckless, but because she had nothing left to lose. And when she finally stepped into the boardroom, 10 minutes later, mud drying on her collar, she found not just one interviewer, but an entire executive panel waiting. They stared at her. One older man in a red tie scoffed audibly. Another woman leaned forward with thinly veiled distaste. But Dominic Kessler, he said nothing. He just studied her. "Miss Cole," he said slowly, like tasting the name, "you've made an impression." Jasmine steadied her breath. "I apologize for the mess, but I believe innovation isn't about showing up perfect. It's about showing up no matter what." There was a long pause. Then Kessler said, "Convince me." What followed was not a traditional interview. It was more like a trial by fire. Jasmine was given a 1-week challenge lead, a test project with a team of skeptical engineers to create a prototype drone that could plant biodegradable seeds in post-disaster zones. The twist: she had no lab budget, no executive support, and a team that believed she was a PR stunt. Day 1, her team ignored her. Day 2, the lead engineer tried to reassign the project. Day 3, Jasmine stayed up for 36 hours building a prototype alone after the team walked out. But on day 4, something changed. She found an old prototype blueprint in the archives, something half abandoned. She reworked the design overnight, brought coffee for everyone at 6 a.m., and didn't ask for help. By mid-morning, 2 engineers returned. then a third. On the final day, Jasmine and her makeshift team demoed a working model that launched from a single backpack and scattered nutrient capsules in a perfect pattern across a burned-out test field. The boardroom went silent. Kessler tapped his fingers on the table. Then he stood. "Congratulations," he said. "Welcome to Archintech as Senior Director of Field Systems." The room erupted, some with applause, some in shock. Jasmine stood frozen, blinking. But it wasn't over. That evening, while packing up her desk in the intern's wing, Jasmine found a note slipped under her tablet. "We know what you did at Zerion Systems. Some things shouldn't come to light." Her breath caught. Zerion Systems, the company where she had last worked, where she'd uncovered data showing their supposedly eco-friendly batteries were leaching toxins into rural groundwater. She had tried to blow the whistle quietly. They buried the report and fired her. Now someone at Archintech had found out. Over the next week, anonymous threats arrived. In her inbox, her apartment was broken into. Someone followed her after work. She went to HR. They brushed it off. And then one night, she found her father's old thumb drive hidden in the bottom of a storage box. The one he said contained his fail-safe. Inside were encrypted files, including emails between Zerion's executives and records showing payouts to multiple firms, including shell companies, linked to Archintech's early funders. Her stomach dropped. This went higher than she thought. She requested a private meeting with Kessler in his glass-walled office, overlooking the city. Jasmine laid everything out. The threats, the emails, the whistleblower data. Kessler listened, face unreadable. "You could walk away," he said. "No one would blame you, but I won't." She said, "Because walking away is how companies like Zerion keep doing this." Silence. Then he stood. "You're not alone anymore." Within a month, Kessler launched a full internal audit. Multiple board members were removed. A formal investigation into Zerion began. Jasmine was asked to testify before the Energy Ethics Committee, and Archintech rewrote its entire corporate responsibility code with Jasmine as its architect. But just when Jasmine thought things were settling, another twist hit. One night, walking home after a late meeting, Jasmine noticed her building's door ajar. Inside, lights were flickering. Her heart pounded as she climbed the stairs to her apartment. The door had been forced open. Inside, drawers were pulled out. Her laptop gone. The folder with hard copies of her father's notes missing. But on the wall, written in red marker, "Truth comes at a cost." She froze, called the police, but they found no fingerprints, no leads. The next day, Kessler assigned her a private security detail. That weekend, Jasmine addressed a closed-door session of the Ethics Alliance, revealing the full scope of Zerion's network, how corporate whistleblowers were targeted, intimidated, and discredited. Media caught wind. Public support exploded. Lawmakers proposed new federal whistleblower protections named the Cole Act. Months later, Jasmine stepped onto the TEDx stage in New York. "I showed up to a job interview, covered in mud. I was judged, dismissed, and nearly silenced again. But mud can't bury truth. It reveals who's willing to rise through it." And just before she stepped off stage, Jasmine received a message. A young woman in rural Kansas, an intern at an energy company, had uncovered evidence of illegal dumping. She had seen Jasmine's story. She wasn't afraid to speak up anymore. That, Jasmine knew, was the real victory. If this story inspired you, hit that like button, leave a karma comment below, and subscribe to our channel for more powerful, real-world stories. Because sometimes your cleanest moment starts in the messiest mud.